banana. Football. This is NFL Straya. I'm your co-host, James Clements. I'm a guy. You can see me on the AFL Today Show, NBA Straya, the official AFL Supercoach show. We just did the season wrap. I'll tell you that much. We're here in the fancy studio, which means that on the other side of this here table, it is a bloke who actually has some gigs this weekend. Watch out. It is sometimes singer in a band called The Ramshackle Army. Here's my mate. Here's your mate. It's Gaz. Gaz, what's going on?
It's week one of real football, Jim. It's wild. I'm stoked. It was so good because there was so much heartache, so many expectations that just fell through the floor and so many wild scenes. It was awesome.
It was also tough to wake up as early as I did on Monday morning. But at the same time, I had a flight to get home from Brisbane that morning. So it wasn't as tough as it has been in the past. I was like, well, I've got to get up anyway.
It wasn't as tough as the trip to Brisbane was.
No. That sucked. Anyway, but I'll tell you what, week one is in the bag. How good was it? It was chaos. It went to Brazil. We've already got quarterback injuries. We'll talk it all through in the news and all the good stuff, what we're looking at. We've got the week one wrap. We're going to go through every single game. That's what we do on NFL Straya. You remember that? We talk about every game. What happened? We've got some yeah-nahs. We've got the weekly awards. And then we'll set you up for week two. Some tasty matchups, some stinkers as well. Like looking at it as well, you're like, oh, geez, really? It's only week two, but that's the best time to get stinking matchups when you're still happy to have football back, Gaz.
Yep.
You know? Get those ones out of the road.
Find out who you are.
Exactly. All right. It is going to be a chockers show, so strap in. It's one big, dumb NFL Straya package. It's episode 101 of the show as well. Let's go. I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of my heart. I believe in something going to stop us now. Something. Oh, g'day. This is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and you're listening to NFL Straya. All right, Gaz. I'll tell you what, that was the highlight of my weekend, watching Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce sing The Darkness at the US Open.
Sure.
Brittany Mahomes and...
Does that say more about your weekend?
Yeah, it was a bad week. Little Jimmy's big bad weekend. Ooh. I'll tell you what was fun, though. At least I got to the basketball on Sunday in the Gold Coast for the NBL Blitz. That was fun. A couple of games back-to-back with the Squid. But he was so cooked, he's just like, Dad, I just want to go home. I'm like, all right, bud. Off we went. But yeah, my AFL team lost. And when I say lost, got smashed. My NFL team, they won, which is not what I wanted. What are we doing here? Anyway, what are we looking at after week one, Garrington? Tyreek Hill, he got arrested. Footage came out today as well. In a surprise twist to absolutely nobody, the cops were a bit heavy-handed. I, for one, am shocked.
Yep. And Calais Campbell, who's like Walter Payton Man of the Year, is also detained for... Yep. Not good scenes. Not good scenes.
My favorite thing are the reply guys defending, just follow laws. It's like, what? He was like, he was trying to explain to the cop, like as it comes out in the body cam footage, right? He's trying to explain, I've got a knee injury, and they've just like thrown it. And just like every time you see one of these videos, you're like, yeah, excessive force. And then every time a video like that comes out, cops are like, he wasn't listening, and he was resisting. And it's like, let's see the video. Replay that, yeah. Let's just all settle down. Ridiculous gear. I just don't know why people just feel the need to come out and like defend it every time. So, the cops are just follow the laws. It's all right, cool. You drive a car like that, you won't be going over the speed limit, just saying. Also, how dumb do you have to be that those cops and not go, that's Tyreek Hill?
Yep. Out the front of the stadium.
What are you doing? Like, just in general, what are you doing? It makes no damn sense. In a surprise twist as well, Gaz, some cops might be a bit dumb. Anyway, what the hell was that? What the hell? That's a Stephen A. Smith drop right there. I've got that one for NBA Straya. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? It's the perfect Stephen A. drop. He actually went after the cops as well. It's good to see.
There you go.
Nothing untoward went down in little Brazil there, Sao Paulo, apart from crazy Eagles fans getting up and about. I did want to send out a search party because apparently you were at Christ the Redeemer in very short order. Some dude with the leading the E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles chant in front of Christ the Redeemer, which is pretty fun. Classic Philly.
No one. I was waiting for someone to attempt to put an Eagles jersey on, like everyone does the Rocky, but then that's probably a bit much. Yeah.
I did love that the Eagles fan did look like a cross between you and Steve-O from Area 7. I'm like,
wow.
It's like we combine the two,
all right,
and we've got that Eagles fan.
There you go.
Anyway, but speaking of untoward things that happened in Brazil, Jordan Love's knee, that sucked at the end of that game.
Just the field in general, which we'll touch on in a bit, was gross.
But the MCL, luckily wasn't at least an ACL. And so it's not as serious as it could have been, I guess, for Jordan Love. But this stinks because, like, Green Bay, like, they were in that game with Philly to a very high degree. It was awesome. It was very fun. Like, that game was scrappy as hell, but fun. Yeah. And, like, it's just a nice reminder when he's, like, slinging it to Jaden Reed and stuff. You're like, this Green Bay team could be sick this year. And then, boom, right at the end of that game, that happens. You're like, just want nice things. Yep. Can I just have nice things? Like, if the Patriots are going to suck, at least just make other teams fun, right?
And then they trot out Malik Willis, and they might be trotting him out for 3 to 6 weeks.
Oh, I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Dak, his deal got done. It's a bit of cash. $231 million guaranteed.
Just a little bit.
It's about how much you get paid, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently.
But a 4-year extension, I do always love the after-the-fact moment when, like, Jerry comes out. It's like, well, man, we're all going to get this done. And you're like, all right, Jerry, were you? And Dak's like, I was on the dog and bones, my marketing people, my financial advisors. My girlfriend.
Yeah.
And my mum. You're like, I'd probably reverse that, but that's fine. I also love that he's got financial advisors. Seems like a pretty big job. With that amount of cash, you'd hope it'd be more than one, so I'm okay with that.
So?
Agents, maybe? What are you doing? They probably would have been there, I guess, but anyway.
Yeah, but now they've got a couple of players on the defense to pay, and then Dak's going to be screaming about, why have I got no one to go with CD? And why am I still handing off to a 30,000-year-old Zeke?
Well, the cool thing is, like, no one who's paid quarterbacks in the past like $230 million has actually ever regretted it. So
No, it's gone fine.
Deshaun Watson. Joe Burrow, just saying. Speaking of which, Jamar played as well. So in terms of, like, deals being done, I don't think Jamar actually had his done.
No.
Still played. Under duress, kind of. Didn't seem like he played because he didn't do anything.
No.
Anyway. Outside of that, was there any other sort of news that stuck out to you?
Kendrick's playing the Super Bowl.
That was cool.
That was being announced.
In Vegas.
Yeah. I reckon Drake might be taking a trip to a forest with a log cabin with no internet for that weekend.
I think the best joke about that was, like, just imagine, like, getting 6 months notice that you're going to get called a pedophile in the Super Bowl halftime show. And I fell off my couch when I read that. It's pretty good. Drake, that's a loser of the week right there. Boom. All right. Week 1 is in the bag. So injuries. We always we've got 2 things that come out of week 1 each year, right? There's always just some crappy bunch of injuries where you're like, really? Yep. Really? And also overreactions. So we've got plenty of them. Let's do it. Injuries. David Njoku had a high ankle sprain. I was like watching that game going, okay, sure. It'd be nice if, like, the commentators wanted to bang on it a little bit more, but didn't want to. Puka Nacua, PCL strain. He's on the IR.
It's funny because we were just talking about last week how
you'd hate to have drafted Cooper Kupp in all your fantasy leagues.
Yeah. We'll just say, this is Cooper Kupp's. This is my team, sunshine, and then fuck it is now, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's got to be. But the PCL at least, and it's a sprain. Like, he's kind of re-aggravated an existing sort of thing, right?
They've just said it's rest and relaxation. It's not surgery or anything like that.
It's living my dream. And as mentioned, Jordan Love, the MCL sprain, they didn't put him on the IR. So I love that, like, the commentary around that is like, it means they're very confident on the lower end of the 3 to 6 week scale. It's like, I mean, sure. Yes.
No worries.
Because if he's fine, he might, like, they didn't even rule him out for next week yet, right? Like, there's nothing official. They haven't put him on the IR because that would make it official. Roma Dunze is week to week with an MCL sprain as well, which sucks. Again, nice things. Chicago were not a nice thing this week, apart from that defense. But burner, fun, hurt.
Yep.
Guys, this sucks. It's week 1. Give me some more Roma Dunze.
Yep.
And Josh Allen. I love this. He's like, I don't throw the ball with my left hand. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he says, I ran into a defender. I ran into Buda Baker. He tackles pretty hard, in case you haven't realised? And they said, are you all right? He goes, oh, I don't throw with that. I'm not a doctor, Jim. I'm not a doctor.
Josh Allen, not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Not a doctor. All right. That was a lot of injuries. We're going to go through the week 1 games now, and then we'll do some overreactions. I've got some reactions, and they are over. All right, week 1, wrap time. Let's do it. Hey, remember Friday morning?
I don't really. Fucking time ago.
But that game was sick. Baltimore, KC. What a season opener it was, guys. 27-20. KC win it because Isaiah Likely's foot is 1 inch too long. You know what they say about dudes with big feet? No touchdown.
Yeah, apparently.
I just made that up myself. It even made producer Gerald giggle. Crazy game. Isaiah Likely outscored I think every other tight end in fantasy.
Yeah.
Basically combined. The likely foot on the line game this is though, because the game is ending.
Yep.
Lamar's already missed a wide open Zay Flowers in the end zone a play or two beforehand. Hits Likely in an insane throw, catches it. They call it a touchdown because it looked awesome. Looked like he'd toe tap, all good. We get the zoom. Zoom. The tiniest little skerrick of his foot is over the line to the point where, as many times as I've looked at this photo, why are receivers not wearing clown shoes is a question. Just a little bit of it, or those sort of Turkish slippers with a bit of turned up at the end.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm curious to know if any part of that actual foot is touching the line, right? Because it's over it, but it's on a slow angle. I'm just saying. Look, just saying. He touched the line, whatever. But an insane game and a weird way to finish, a chaos way to finish, because that would have obviously set them up. They reckon they were probably going to go for 2 to win the game. Yeah. It's easy to say that after the fact, but
it's a hard thing to do, right?
Exactly. So I don't know. How did you fight about this game? It was sick.
Yeah. It was, I think the Lamar did Lamar things. There was probably not enough usage of Desert Henry in the beginning where everyone was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. How are you going to stop Desert Henry up the middle and then Lamar going out to the side and barely gave him the fucking ball in the first half.
Yeah, and Lamar rushed for 122 yards by himself.
Exactly.
It was sick. But it did feel like they'll give him the old thunder and lightning, right? It's that we'll save Derrick Henry for later, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
But 13 carries for 46 yards. It felt like it just opened up Lamar's game more than anything else, and especially Isaiah Likely at 111. That just makes that much more of a difference where it's we're going to hand it off to Derrick Henry. And I was like, oh, God, they're going to hand it to Derrick Henry. And then Lamar's like, I'm gone. Right?
Yep.
What are you doing? They're like, oh, they're nuts. Let's catch him.
They also lined up Mark Andrews at tackle for a couple of plays. You'd be shattered if you drafted him in fantasy.
God damn
it. You?
This sucks. I think I tweeted out halfway through this as well. I don't know why we feel like it's okay just to give Patrick Mahomes better Tyreek Hill now.
Yep.
Xavier Worthy, that first touchdown, you're like, dude, what the hell was that? Just splits everyone, he's gone.
Quick as fuck.
What? Come on, man. That's just unfair. So, crazy game.
It's come up in a lot of fantasy at the moment going, oh my God, how did we let him drop this far? This is going to be wild. But really, since Tyreek, when has Mahomes ever focused on one weapon? Yeah, Kelsey will go off in a couple of games and then he'll have a game where he'll spread it out to 6 different receivers and hand it at the back. So as much as Worthy will be great, it could be feast or famine. We're going to see games where he goes missing.
He also
got Rashid Rice.
He only had 2 receptions anyway. They were for 47 yards.
Yeah.
But Rashid Rice, 103 yards. He was awesome, just sort of everywhere. Love it. Because got him in fantasy as well. Anyway.
And then if you were drafting Travis high, it was not the game for tight ends, Jim.
No.
Who was starting high. When you've got Noah Gray.
I'll say white tight ends.
Tight ends.
Just a bad game for white tight ends. Outside of that, you're laughing. Yep. But a huge win. Look, we'll talk about this later, I think, for a bit of in some nah gear. But KC, the 3-peat chase is off to a great start. Baltimore, you're like, what more can we do, man? Come on. Anyway. Then we go to Rahila.
What a weird fucking game, Jim.
It was bizarre. 34-29, Philly win it. In Sao Paulo, everybody slipping over.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but having worn footy boots before in my life, if I'm still slipping over, I'm probably like, oh, geez, I don't know if these boots are good enough. Probably change out the cleats. What do you reckon? No one apparently figured that out.
No.
Either team. It was weird.
Nah.
Anyway, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, it was. It didn't start off great. First drive of the game and backed up into the end. Oh, well, first and foremost, Saquon's first rush went for -5 yards as he slips over in almost at our own goal line. And then Hurts backed up in the own end zone, throws it to McKinney, who yet another Giants player that they let go. And in the first foray for another team is making big plays. So anyway, Hurts then goes into the next drive where he misses the snap from Jurgens. So we've got 2 turnovers.
Not only missed the snap, but then ran away from, the ball's on the ground. Ah!
Yeah.
It was just like, the ball, what do I do? It's like, dude, it's not a mouse.
No.
You're meant to jump
great.
on it.
It was
I think
weird.
that's the plan. It was bizarre.
Yeah, so we got the full experience of the Jalen Hurts as we posted online, because later in the game, just a dime, just drop that into the end zone to Saquon. We've got the catch and run to AJ. We've got we need a couple of yards here, and all of a sudden he's busting through tackles. And so we had the 3 turnovers mixed with the full Jalen Hurts experience. But luckily, with those turnovers, the Vic Fangio defense was able to tighten and keep us in touch early with the field goals from the Packers. But Jordan Love was on and off this game. It's hard to tell how much was the receivers just seemed to be slipping over, that he was missing targets by that fucking much, Jim, including in the end zone where we should have been punished for a touchdown there for a while. But then Jalen Reed, we couldn't tackle because as soon as you try and change direction with someone like Jalen Reed, you're fucking gone.
You're out there Scooby-Dooing.
So, yeah, look, Zach Baum, who had a massive first game for us. Mitchell, as his rookie first start, it was pretty good. I think the Packers will be fine. It was weird for both teams. Both teams had really positive bits. It's weird to think that there was so many turnovers, and yet it was 29-34. Both offenses still managed to put up a lot of points.
They only kicked a field goal each in the fourth quarter. It was weird. It all sort of ground to a halt. You're like, where did the excitement go? This is weird. 100%. That second quarter was nuts. I think there was 30 points scored in the second quarter.
Yeah, it definitely felt like both teams were knocking a fair bit of rust off.
Josh Jacobs' debut, it was fine. It was early, you're like, ugh, what's going on? And then he sort of got it going.
Started to bust some holes through the middle there.
84 yards and 16 carries. Saquon, though, was fantastic.
It was a Saquon game for us. That was the big one. Obviously, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving, over 100 yards in his debut. And then all of a sudden, my sneaky thing for Offensive Player of the Year, when you've got McCaffrey on the sidelines for week 1, all of a sudden one's got 3 touchdowns. Look, it was.
I don't know where your voice went there as well. It went so high. It's like dogs just started barking somewhere.
No, but look, it's so different when you've got an offensive line who's just opening holes, and then all of a sudden that little scamper that Saquon can do, and where we had DeAndre Swift last year who could scamper through those holes, but then we get tackled. All of a sudden, Saquon's taking 3 or 4 dudes with him.
Question, was Jason Kelce just the tush push, though?
It didn't
work.
Didn't go great.
They're gushing over, this guy here, he can squat 500 pounds. This guy here, he squats 490 pounds. And didn't work. The Brazilian butt lift did not work. It was weird.
Jurgens just didn't seem to get that push and get down low enough. Like Kelce would always hit the ground.
Yep.
But they definitely need to clean that up because there was 2, the second fumbled snap right at the goal line. Lucky Saquon dived on it. It was another saved our ball.
Nice one. I like that we used to have time frames on these wraps, but anyway, let's fly through the rest of it. Hey, Tennessee were up 17-0 and then they lost 24-17 because they're Tennessee. This game was fucking nuts. It was just, Will Levis, what are you doing? Chicago, amazing work. The pick 6, the 2-point, the punt return, they had special teams. It was all fucking chaos. You had Simone Biles' husband with the sick pick 6, and you're just all right, that's awesome. Chicago's D saved Caleb Williams because he wasn't that good, but it gets glossed over because the D saved him basically in this one.
They didn't. They won with 24 points and didn't score an offensive touchdown.
No. Keenan Allen looked like he fucking hurt himself as per usual because he's Keenan Allen. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, he's torn an Achilles. He's hopping off, and then he was fine. it's Keenan Allen. It's like, yeah, but now he'd be out like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
The Will Levis play where and I got a bit of this last year when I was trying to start him, hoping that he was going to be something, where all of a sudden he's got a rocket arm, but then there'll be a play where he's in the middle of getting sacked, falling down, and just flicks the ball to absolutely no one.
Surrender Cobra. Wasn't it the surrender Cobra that he gave up? He was like, what?
What? Oh, fuck. Yep.
I can't believe I threw the ball to them to lose the game. Caleb Williams, 14 completed throws on 29 attempts, 93 yards.
Yeah, not the greatest.
He'll be fine. He had a couple of nice little moments. But Tennessee, I was feeling so fucking good about my pick for this, like 17-0. We're laughing. I'm like, this is good. And they was, I don't know how they fucking lost this game and didn't cover. Like, it was just, like, how many fuck-ups can you have? Turns out, a lot.
A lot.
Anyway, they also didn't have Hopkins for this. Pollard looked handy. Ridley and Boyd, though, like, it's just when Levis is sort of just busy shitting down his leg, it doesn't matter how good your fucking receivers are sometimes, right? So, whereas for the Bears, you had DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Adunze, who obviously got hurt. They didn't do much either. That's also, again, because their quarterback was shitting down his leg. Yeah. So, nice one. Pittsburgh, Atlanta. This was funny. How the fuck did we not see this one coming? 18-10, Pittsburgh win. Terrible towels everywhere. No Rusty. He had like a calf, I think it was. So Jussie Fields, he got in. He wasn't good. Gives him a little bit more chaos ball, I guess. But yeah, fumbled his first snap, so that's a bit of chaos. Missed an open target on his first throw. He was all over the shop. But the biggest thing for me from this one, Atlanta, shit. Kirk Cousins, shit. All those towels. Pittsburgh, they were fucking everywhere for week 1. It was nuts. Like, I've been to that Atlanta stadium. It's so fucking loud. And if you're like drowning out the locals, hot damn, Gas, hot damn. Anyway, your thoughts on
Well, I think this is the second game in a row that we're wrapping that the winning team didn't score an offensive touchdown, Jim. That's 18 points of field goals. Wow. We know that this the Pittsburgh team is not going to set the world on fire.
Arthur Smith has got the world's biggest boner after this as well. He's like, see, you don't need fucking Atlanta in your face. You don't need receivers or running backs. I've just got a field goal kicker. Blow it out your ass.
Yeah, and I think
paraphrasing him.
We've overrated the Kirk effect, right? Is Penix the biggest winner out of this week?
Well, we might talk about that in the overreactions, but I think you might be right. But the big winner out of this one is Chris Boswell, who went 6 of 6 on his field goal attempts. Anyone who had him for fantasy is like, what the fuck was that?
That was sick. Yeah.
But yeah, Atlanta defense was just so much bend, don't break, and then just every so often break enough where Pittsburgh are like, what do we do? Oh, we'll just kick another field goal. It'll be fine.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, though, cooked. Like, that was... It was just gross.
There was some terrible stuff. So. Well, Kyle Pitts finally got in for a touchdown.
I love that.
How was that?
I absolutely love that. But yeah, look, Atlanta, we'll talk about this again in a second, but Atlanta, not good. Pittsburgh, I still think they're shit.
Yep.
But they won this
They
game.
will be.
We should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
Another shit team, Jacksonville. Whoa, 17-20. Miami win this on a walk-off field goal from Sanders. 52-yarder too. So it's not a fucking chip shot. And... this was bizarre. I think I may have tipped Jacksonville to cover. I can't remember. Or I bet them, one of the two. But they're up 14-0. Yeah. And then still 17-7. Fell apart. It all happens after Etienne loses the fucking ball through the end zone.
Yep.
Like just fumbles it out as he's going in. And it gets punched out. And they're like, And like the entire game swings on that. You have the insane Tyreek Hill fucking catch down the sideline for a touchdown. You have Waddle's like 60-odd yarder that just breaks it open again. And Tua then sort of just did enough. And you're like, this is not a great fucking start for Miami, but a win is a win.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas Jacksonville, it's like, this is a Dougie P special, this one. It's just like, how can we just fuck this up and somehow lose? And Dougie P's like, boys, I got this.
Well, to be fair to Trev, the dropped passes really didn't fucking help off the hands.
He just cops it, doesn't he? Maybe he just throws a hard ball.
Yep.
Just saying. Maybe
Brian Thomas is a bit of all right.
Can burn.
Can burn.
I think he was the only good rookie. I'll talk about rookie wide receivers again later too, but only good one. Hey, the Pats won. What the fuck? 16-10.
This is the fucking best. That was so good.
I hate Cincy so much.
So good.
What are you doing? Joe Burrow looked like he'd never played football before. He's like, who the fuck are these guys? That's the defense, Joe. He's like, do I throw the ball to them? He's like, no, Joe. Throw it to your guys. He's like, who are those guys? He's like, that's your offense. He's like, I don't know them. I don't fucking Leo over there. And it's just like absolute chaos. Brisket, he got smoked early on and then just led like a 70-yard fucking touchdown drive.
Yeah.
Like it was no thing. You're like, Cincy, you're meant to be a contender. Keon White and the safeties, they look fucking fantastic for New England. You got to, like, the thing that you forget is like, oh yeah, Christian Gonzalez, rookie last year.
Yeah.
Back now, again, awesome. But
your defense was never going to be the problem.
exactly,
Jim.
the defense was never going to be the problem. So that's why I'm so angry at Cincy for just being that shit. Ramondre goes for 120 and a touchdown, but Cincinnati's fucking offense just stunk. No T. Higgins. Jamar Chase basically didn't show up. They might have been better if he didn't. Like, they were just bad. Shame on you, Cincy. Shame.
I was watching just the highlights, just watching through Red Zone and just imagining your pain.
Like, I'm just laying there watching this on the fucking iPad. And so we're in the hotel still in Brisbane as this one's going on. Like, the squid keeps waking up, coughing his guts up and just like, and I'm like, and then the squid's like, wait, why is Dad just like crying softly? Because the fucking Pats are beating Cincy week 1 and your old man's losing a bit of money. Anyway, Houston, Indy, this was the best early game. It was back and forth. It was chaos. 29-27, Houston win it. Stroud and Richardson go back and forth. I don't know how much of this one you saw, Gaz, but Anthony Richardson had like sick highlights and then you go back and he had 9 completed passes.
Yeah, I think this is one of the, it was definitely one of the red zone ones for me. And so you only see the highlights and then you see the bits in between after, and there's just nothing.
It was so weird.
There was just, that back foot throw, that bomb, touchdown, 60 yards. Fucking hell.
Mixon Houston's balance though on offense looked incredible. 159 yards for Joe Mixon. He's still alive. Diggs was fantastic. He only had 33 total yards, but 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins just like taking in snags on that last drive too.
Yep.
Stroud was fantastic at times. He also had a couple of weird moments, but overall felt really, really good. And like this was one of the games of that early slate where you're like, ooh, both these teams are kind of playing at a level because it's you know how I hate early division games.
Yes.
But that's exactly why you have one of those, I guess, because this was fucking intense and it was cool and they were on.
Yep.
Like they're not playing against it's not New England Cincy.
And now there's some desperation in Colts already because they're after week 1 they're a division game back.
Down 1 and Houston look fucking great. So I don't know, defensively still some weird fuck ups from Houston.
Yeah.
But they did enough. Like I think I might have had Houston, I think, as one of the defenses you look at for fantasy, right? And I'm like, ooh, I want no bar of that this week for Indy. And I think I forgot to swap them out. So good job by me, idiot. Anyway, Houston off to a flyer. Indy, I remain unconvinced.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson. Like make more than 9 throws. Yeah. Giants, Minnesota, Gaz.
Well.
28-6 Vikings, right?
Yeah. Look, it was it's not exactly how Danny Dimes wanted to start the season.
You sure?
Let's put it that way. Look, there's some throws here where he's absolutely stared down a receiver. There's no one but 3 Vikings covering them, throwing picks in the end zone. And you're like, is this your first football game? I know you're coming back from an injury, but come on, bud. But then the Sam Darnold, we were like, oh, you know what? He's got some weapons around him. Is JJ enough to get him over the line? He's pretty good. And then Aaron Jones is not dead, Jim. He got shipped off from Green Bay like he was dead. Yeah. But all of a sudden, he's still around. So, look, it was a horrible game, but a sign of very much things to come, I think, for one of these sides. Still don't know what to make of the Vikings. I don't think you can judge the Vikings on this game.
We talked about this like last year, like loads, right? Like when they play like shit teams.
Yeah.
You're like, what do we learn about this team?
Nothing.
Fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Because this was like queuing the rack shit by the third quarter. Like the Vikings like, we have done enough and these guys are bad. Yeah. Feel for Malik Neighbours. Jesus.
Yeah. And if you're like, where does Dayball go from here? He was
defensive coordinator in Buffalo.
yeah.
He's coming home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bizarre.
Giants, they stink. Saints 47, Carolina 10. Not much on this one because, boy, did the Saints just kick the ever-living shit out of the Panthers. This was a rough one, I'll tell you. If you're a Carolina fan, you're like, what are we doing? Is that it? Seriously? Derek Carr, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. 161 for Bryce Young, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, obviously. Oh, boy. This team is bad. Saints absolutely fucked them up. It was 30-3 at halftime, so it should have been way worse. And, yeah, Alvin Kamara, crushing it. 183. He's all good. Rashid Shaheed crushed it as well. I nailed that.
I think the false sense of security that Saints fans are going to get out of this game is going to be really enjoyable.
What do we learn about New Orleans in this game? Nothing. But they can kick the fuck out of a shit team like Carolina. Arizona, Buffalo, 28-34. The Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Classic Arizona, this one, wasn't it? They're just running out of steam.
100%. Yeah.
17-10, they're up at the half. They got steamrolled.
Coming over them. Kyler didn't have the crackinest game, though. It wasn't amazing from him. The stats weren't up there. And that Marvin Harrison, mate. 4 yards.
But the crazy thing, he's the widest open anyone has ever been in the entirety of the history of the NFL. Late in that game, just going, I literally can't see any defender. That's how wide open I am. And they don't throw it to him. It was bizarre. No. So on the weekend, we FaceTime with the missus and the squid number 2. And squid number 2, he's about to turn 2. And so proper toddler vibes, grabs the phone and just fucking bolts. And there is nothing funnier than watching a 2-year-old with the phone in his hand, because he does his like little fucking waddle run and he's just off. He's gone. And I'm like, that's Kyler Murray. Look at him go. Kyler Murray's got the ball. Let's go. Josh Allen, the 2 rushing touchdowns. One of them was the fucking chaos, just like windmill.
Took it by himself. Yep.
The 2 passing touchdowns were nice as well. It was a Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir.
Yep.
Both look really good. And you're like, Stephon Diggs maybe was a bit of a pain in the ass just to hang around, and like the difference between he and like these dudes, bit negligible. They ripped off a 28-3 run.
That's pretty wild.
Not bad. Not bad.
Second half. It was just, and you know, Gannon's defense, that I always refer to, that bend don't break, was the thing that we always had to, the Eagles always had to have a lead in the second quarter because teams were going to come back with that bend don't break when they start taking risks. But you're the head coach and you're leading in the first game of the season.
Brutal. I also love anytime we see something like 28-3 come up.
Yeah.
Go Pats.
Yep.
Good Super Bowl, that one. Raiders, they got their asses kicked by the Chargers, 22-10. Well, when I say asses kicked, I mean it was gross. It was like 9-7 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
22-10, they win it. Jim Harbaugh gets his win in his Chargers debut. J.K. Dobbins ripped it up like it was in 28 days.
It was
like it was nuts.
It was.
Yo, check this style.
It was almost like he hadn't. Fuck. I didn't realize where you were going with that. I finally got it. Yeah, it was just almost like those 15 seasons of injuries hadn't happened. It was just
he
like
blew an Achilles last year, didn't he? The start of last year.
Yeah, he was just blowing through people.
135 yards. I think the weirdest thing from this was like he beat Jim Harbaugh. Like his biggest carrying game in college.
Yeah,
I think came against Michigan and Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
And now he's playing for him. He ripped off his biggest one as a pro, 135, which is pretty cool, and a touchdown. Gus Edwards did a little bit. Lad McConkey got in for a touchdown, which was awesome late. Quinton Johnson was the one that I kept keeping my eye on. First round pick last year. Juzzy Herbs, they did not ask him to do much.
No.
I'm okay with that. Let him warn him into this season. Just don't forget that he's fucking awesome. 144 yards. 1 touchdown. They ran the shit out of it. There's 27 team carries. And the Raiders,
they're nothing. They didn't show. Minshew didn't show. He showed Minshew, right? Yeah.
I'm more concerned about Antonio Pierce's coward punt. I don't like a good.
That showed a lack of faith in the team, right?
That's a big coward punt late too. So, because it was a 4th and 1.
Yep.
And they punt. They were down 16-10.
Yeah, that's where it's exactly where you go for it. Where you put it in
like on the coward meter, it's 100%. Like that's cowardly lion shit. What are we doing?
Yeah, what was busting around is the comparison to someone say, like the Lions, where Dan Campbell would go for that just to prove a fucking point. Any time of the game, right?
He's just, I don't care. We're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, he had the 60, like J.K. Dobbins had the 61-yard run, and it was just basically that was it. And like Pierce, I feel like he's meant to be tough, but he feels fake tough.
Yep.
Right? He's like, no, like they went for it at the 43, didn't get it, and then he shits himself the next time around. Do the thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to do the thing and you think you're tough, be tough and do the fucking thing.
Particularly when you're all about the players coach, right? You're always about, I've got your back, boys. Yeah. This is what's it. We're going to go for it.
That's not having their back. Anyway, Raiders stink. Fuck them. 20-26. That would be the score of Denver, Seattle. Oh, boy.
Another weird, fucking gross game, Jim.
This was brutal. So I watched.
Weird.
This one popped up every so often on Red Zone. You're like, what the fuck is going on in this game? 2 interceptions, well, like hit, tip, chaos from Geno. And then Bo Nix just, it was nuts. You had 2 different safeties and they're up at the half for Denver. You're like, what is this game? And then Kenny Walker just goes, all right, boys, let's win this one. 103 and a touchdown. And then he got hurt late. We actually didn't mention that one at the top. It was like an abdomen, I think, from what I remember. So Seattle just basically ride him. Off they go. They feel good. Denver just looked like dog shit to the point where, as I'll hit on later, Bo Nix is just throwing into triple to coverage, and like even the commentator's like, oh, no. So how do you not see that? What was that? It was the funniest fucking thing of the weekend. Anyway, Denver, Sean Payton, it's like, yeah, Bo Nix is good. It's fine. Everything's fine here. It's like the dog with the house burning down behind it meme. Like just
who is he? Like Josh Reynolds, his number 1 receiver?
It's brutal.
Come on, man.
Good job by Seattle, though, to actually nut up and step up in the second half and ride Kenny. Dallas kicked the fuck out of Cleveland, 33-17. Trouble in Cleveland, baby, because Deshaun Watson is bad.
That was horrible.
He was so bad. Like, Dallas aren't good. This is Tom Brady's debut in the booth as well. He was also not good. That's bad. Dallas still kicked their ass, though. Like, no 2 ways around it. You're watching this going, oh, I thought Cleveland's defense was good. What the fuck? And they shredded them, guys. Like,
yep. Deshaun had, I think it was something along the lines of the lowest total air yards since the stat by a quarterback since the stat has been
that's awesome.
Counted. It was just ridiculous. You see him busting out as, Deshaun busts out of the pocket as he does.
He certainly doesn't mind busting.
No, he doesn't. He's busting out to the right and you're thinking, oh, someone's going to get open for him, Jim. And then like, oh no, so we'll take it with his legs and he'll just run straight into a fucking defender.
It's bizarre.
There was just no chance. Just throw it away, dude. Stop taking the negatives and throw the fucking ball away. But if you're thinking about that, you're like, oh, it's all right, Jerome Ford. They've run, they made it to the playoffs in previous years. Before Flacco, it was run game with Chubb, defense.
Yep.
So we'll put it in Jerome's hands. Nope.
I don't think Jerome Ford's good. Like, I just don't think he's that good. I've got him in like maybe both fantasy leagues that I'm in, like that the big ones.
Yep.
And it was just kind of a bit shit. You're like watching that game, like I think he scored okay in the end because he got the touchdown, right? And it's like, okay, but I don't know how you did that while also being bad at football. What the fuck? But I don't know. Maybe the Dallas defense is okay. Maybe Cleveland aren't as shit as they look, but jeez. Washington, Tampa Bay, 37-20. This was a laugher. Tampa Bay kicked the fucking shit out of them. Jaden Daniels, dude, protect your neck once, please. He looked awesome. He was electric. We were right there. Rest of the Commanders, not so much.
Yep.
It was weird.
Baker's pretty good too.
I love Baker. I love that Baker's doing this while Deshaun Watson is stinking it up in Cleveland.
Stinking it up.
Funniest fucking thing in the world. Anyway, there you go. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans is just like, ooh, check this out. Another touchdown on your head.
Yep.
He's just going to do that until the day he dies. So, whereas for the Commanders, like Eckler was in the passing game a bit. They just didn't get Brian Robinson going because Jaden Daniels was like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yep.
He had 88 yards and the 2 touchdowns. Like, it just didn't feel like their balance was bang on. Like, Dan Quinn didn't really know what the fuck was going on for a bunch of this as well. He's like, well, I told him, don't do that. What are you doing? Every time. And Terry McLaurin, talk about fucking fantasy disappointment. 17 yards, 2 catches. And
Only 4 targets for the whole game.
brutal. Whereas Tampa Bay, they to sort of balance that, had 4 passing touchdowns from Baker, which I fucking love. 2 to Mike Evans, 61
I was
yards.
going to say, Mike Evans is he's just fucking ageless, right?
I love it.
Even Chris Godwin is up there. Yep.
But anyway, good start to the season by Tampa Bay. Like it's like, remember we were a fucking playoff team last year. It's like, yes, we remember because that was awesome. Yep. Detroit.
Not for Eagles fans, mate.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
sucked in. I thought it was great. Detroit 26, Rams 20 in overtime. Crazy game. Awesome Sunday night football game. You've got McVay versus Goff, Stafford versus his own old team. It's in Detroit, and the lines are up 17-3, and it all falls apart. Completely falls apart. Cup just fucking shreds. Nakua gets hurt. Kyron Williams has a pretty sick touchdown.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Jameson Williams, difference maker, guys. Difference maker. If you've got Amon Ra underneath, you've got Jameer Gibbs that you can dump off to when needed. David Montgomery just running through MFs right there. As long as that Lions O-line sort of stays okay, and they did for a bunch of this, especially in the overtime.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We can build on this. The problem is the Detroit defense goes from up 17-3 to just shitting themselves. And using what, first, second, and third round picks on fucking cornerbacks and safeties. Yeah, they're still rookies. Turns out. Yeah. Tough.
We did mention that the weak spot was definitely not the offense. We also talked about Jameson needing to a come out party.
Vertical threat, baby. Vertical threat.
The two seasons. But Jim, Matt Stafford dropped back to pass 49 times. That's a lot of passing for an old man.
Stafford, do you reckon Stafford was just in Detroit? He's like, this is what I'm just so used to losing here.
Yeah.
I just got to throw it 50 times.
Megatron's down there somewhere.
Just start throwing to Calvin Johnson in the fucking stands. Calvin Johnson's sitting there nicking a tin. What the fuck, man? He still would have caught it one-handed. But the biggest thing that stood out for me was that overtime, Detroit just fucking marched down the field and scored. It was sick. The O-line is like, they just pummeled them.
So David Montgomery pretty much trebled his rush count in overtime. Now, Jim, I happen to be playing someone in fantasy who started both Montgomery and Gibbs and had Aiden Hutchinson as the defensive end for their IDP.
Not bad.
And so as soon as it goes into overtime, I'm like, no, fuck off, please. And then just to watch Montgomery, he didn't just tiptoe his way down the field. He was running through dudes.
It was awesome.
He was just taking it to taking them
impressed.
straight to the throat.
So
it was
impressed
awesome
by that O-line and that run game.
Yep.
Man. Anyway, and then the final game today, Monday Night Football, Monday Night Footy. Niners 32, the Jets 19. Defense. Rodgers and Co. looked awesome on the
one drive.
The second drive, was it the second drive that they had?
Yeah.
Second or third, right?
Yeah.
It was like 4 completed passes to Garrett Wilson.
Some lasers there.
It was absolutely beautiful. And then they run it in with Breece Hall. After Breece Hall had looked shit in the first couple of drives, I'm just like, did we need -5 yards?
Yep.
And everyone's like, no. He's like, sorry, my bad. Just running into dudes. And then he finally hit a bit of a groove. And then the Niners went, that's enough of that. And just shut them down the rest of the game until late. And then it was just it was over.
Yep.
And it was weird. No CMC. Christian McCaffrey's rubbed out before the game. It comes out later. It's like the backup Mason was like, I knew about this on Friday. And I was like, you could have fucking told every fantasy owner of CMC, what are we doing here? Anyway, the thing that stood out to me was like, A, defense for the Niners is still fucking awesome. B, Aaron Rodgers, still fucking old.
Yep.
Prove me wrong, Aaron. You're old.
Yeah, they were definitely knocking some rust off there for the Jets he just wasn't there all last year, right? And I think the defense was a surprise getting carved up the way they absolutely did. Looked like the Niners today could do whatever the fuck they wanted to.
The run game was incredible. Like 147 yards on the ground for Jordan Mason is just fucking bizarre.
And there was some weird stat like it's the most carries he's had in a game since like high school.
That's
right?
awesome. What a legend.
And then Debo was just running roughshod through the secondary, right? It was just they made a comment at one stage of we're just going to put Debo back there and dare them to kick off to us.
Love it.
Otherwise, we'll take the start from the 30.
I found the weird one. It was like, oh, they call him a wide back. It's like, I don't know that they do. I don't think they call him that. What are you doing? But Kittle was like a nice release valve. Juwan Jennings was really pretty handy too. The thing that stood out to me though, that Ayuk is just like held out all this time and then is just shit.
Nothing.
You're like, oh, great. Way to step up.
You know, who had the other one that I really like. He doesn't do it very often, but when he does, Cole Juszczyk with the 34-yard down the side. Fullback.
I love it.
40 yards receiving.
How good a
Come on,
fullbacks.
mate.
How good a fullbacks.
So good.
But Ayuk, it's like, hold out for what? Hold out for what? Absolutely shit house. All right, let's do some yeah-nahs overreaction time from week 1. Hey, Gaz, Atlanta stink. Yeah, nah.
Oh, I don't want to say yeah, but it's not looking great. It could be a yeah.
All right, these are rapid fire, so let's speed up. Cynthia Cook, yeah, nah.
Yeah.
That defense was
shit. I know. No, but honestly, they start slow every year. We say this every fucking year.
How do we not learn?
Something like 2-10.
We're idiots.
2-8.
We're fucking idiots. They were like 1-3 and they went to the Super Bowl, wasn't it? The Giants of Carolina. The Giants of Carolina are the two worst teams already. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we already said that about Carolina, and I didn't expect the Giants to be that bad, but considering you guys have already got a win.
All right, got one on the board, and both QBs will be replaced in the first 6 games. Yeah, nah. Ooh. Spicy.
Well, they're already saying what do we got? Drew Lock and Danny DeVito as the backups in New York.
I just want Tommy DeVito back in there. Like, he's the best. Cleveland have absolutely ruined any chance they've ever had at winning a Super Bowl by getting rid of Baker. And Deshaun Watson will go down as the worst deal/trade ever. Yeah, nah.
Oh, 100%. Oh, how do you not? Because the amount of bullshit that went behind that trade, from all the politics behind it, for his backstory, and then for him to be so fucking shit.
3 firsts and all that money.
Yep.
And you just gave up on Baker. Who took you to the fucking playoffs? What are you doing? Like the Bryce Young standing over there, I might be the worst pick ever. It's like, that was also a very bad trade.
But yeah.
Because like you gave Chicago the first pick
That's true.
this year, right? But at the same time, the Deshaun thing was 3 firsts, all that money, and you gave up on Baker, which is just bad karma. You fucked up, Cleveland.
And you fucked off your a big chunk of your fan base by a
sucked in nerds. Should we have seen, this is no longer just like the rapid fire, but should we have seen the Atlanta stinking it up coming? Yeah, nah.
Well, it's almost like Atlanta kind of did by getting Penix, but you would have thought that they would have considered that before paying. What was it, $240, whatever they're paying?
Was it 3 years? 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. But Kirk
a lot
Cousins,
of fucking money for
coming off an Achilles,
Yep.
is in his mid-30s. He's never been elite. We get that.
He's been a stats machine.
We sort of go, oh, he's competent. That's all Atlanta need. What happens if he's not competent? That's what we just saw.
Yep.
It's the first game. He looks so fucking shook.
Yep.
He's like just running around like not even running around. He's just like panicking like a rabbit in the headlights. Just, oh shit, there's a guy. Bang into the ground. You're like, that's not great. But at least Kyle Pitts got a touchdown. That's good. Drake London, sucks for him.
Mm-hmm.
Pitts probably a little bit. Bijan's still a beast.
Yep.
You just hope that they can get it pointing in the right direction.
Yep.
And you won't be playing Pittsburgh's defense every week.
No,
right?
But they will be playing Baker, who seems to be decent.
Yeah.
And David Derek Carr, who, well, we don't know what we think about them yet.
No, that Saints team is fucked. Did we learn maybe to not invest so much in rookie wide receivers? Yeah, nah. It was a weird week for him, I'll tell you.
That is an overreact. That's still part of the overreactions, considering there's still a little bit of finding out to go on. I think Neighbours, you've just got to, and Rome, like the performance by both quarterbacks was not fucking great.
Nope.
Kylo's, he'll be fine, but yeah, he also, as you said, Harrison, wide open. Oh, come on, man.
I just think it was a weird year, right? Because we come into this season with such just a volume of rookie wide receivers that everyone's like fully fucking psyched on. Let's go. And like none of them did much. And you're like, it's because no rookie wide receivers apart from like Nakua last year Like they're not usually out there setting records.
No.
It doesn't matter how ballyhooed they are.
No.
It's fucking generational shit. Even if Marvin Harrison ends up being generational,
it's one week. Talent and speed when you get to the NFL because everyone's kind of quick, Jim.
Everyone's fast and big. Final one. Are you worried if you're Baltimore? You got an incredible Lamar game and you still can't beat KC? Yeah, nah.
Nah.
That was a trick question because you shouldn't be. No.
No. Both. I think we said it last week. Whoever wins, they're both going to be fine.
Yep. I think Baltimore though, their schedule for the next couple of weeks does give them not winning that game when it was there to be won. Does put them on the back foot, but they play the Raiders this week, so you're like,
yep,
that's okay. Then they're at Cowboys and they host the Bills. At the Bengals. We don't know what the fucking Bengals are. So this weird opening 5. We're like, you want to be better than 3-2, but I don't know. Losing that first one's a bit tough. All right, good bloke of the week. Who are we buying a beer? A beer from me is Tyreek Hill doing the
I was going to say, we didn't talk about the celebration
because I had it here.
Yep.
I loved it. I fucking loved it. If you're going to arrest me for a fucking traffic violation.
Yep.
Drag me out, handcuff me, stick your boots in like a bunch of fucking pricks, then I get to make a fun celebration about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how dumb you can be as a cop to not go, it goes with this Scotty Scheffler thing as well. You're just so fucking high on smelling your own farts as a cop to go, I'm important, check this out. It's Scotty fucking Scheffler. You're at a fucking, what was it, the US Open. It's Tyreek Hill. He's about to play the game. He's one of the he was ranked number 1 in the players poll of the best players in the NFL. You're a fucking bonehead, meathead cop. How does that not get through your thick skull?
Yep.
That's insane to me. Anyway. Calamity! Kevin Harlan with one of the great calls. I fucking love Kevin Harlan as a announcer. He's one of the best in the NBA and the NFL. He's unreal. Just drops a calamity out there. That was immense. I'm buying him a beer. Jared Mayo. He got a Gatorade bar, so I don't know if I need to buy him a beer, but he got his first win. Who are we not buying? Who are we buying a beer? We're buying Jared Mayo one.
Yeah.
So is Robert Kraft, because who presented him with the game ball gas? Robert Kraft came down to the room and was like, hey, here you go, Jared, my new favorite coach. Bill Belichick somewhere punching the shit out of a wall going, fuck all of yous. J.K. Dobbins, as mentioned.
He was just running through.
That was a great game.
Yep.
Baker, if there's revenge is a dish best served with a side of fuck you. Cleveland and just what have we done to deserve this? It's you are Cleveland.
You are.
That's what you've done.
Yep.
Saquon.
Of course.
I love that he's Barkley and everyone's like, woof, woof. It's I get that.
Yeah, I get it.
His name's Barkley.
Yeah.
Philly fans are very inventive. And then you've got one.
I got Kyle Duggar.
Yeah. Nice.
Only because, the play before, I think it was the exact play before that they scored a touchdown, Jim.
Yep.
They got called back. And then there was another one that was going in for a touchdown and then Kyle Duggar punched the ball out and that was any chance of Bengals coming back on you, Jim. This was sniffed out.
Keon White, Marcus Jones, Kyle Duggar, they were all fucking awesome. And it breaks my heart how good they were. Fuck, God, that's annoying. There was one other one. Oh, the Simone Biles' husband.
Owens?
I love that. Owens was Mr. Biles. Everybody's it's Simone Biles. Yes, that's sick. So that was fun. We'll buy him a beer just because anytime you're your missus is the best gymnast ever. That there's nothing you can do.
No.
But doing that, it's good on you, buddy. Here's a beer. All right, Flog of the week, aka old mate, no mates. Who's got no mates this week? Oh no. Bo Nix throwing into triple coverage. Adam Arculeta was the special comments guy on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's in his hands. He's gone to throw it. He's gone, oh no. And then Bo Nix lets it go. And it's literally 3 dudes covering the receiver. You're like, oh, yeah, no. Bo Nix is bad.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, as mentioned, the coward punt. That was just brutal. Travis Etienne fumbling through the end zone. The entire game's the entire momentum changed at that point. Bryce Young. That's just a what do you say to him in the rooms after that game?
You should have gone 2. We should have taken CJ Stroud.
2 picks, 13 completions on 30 attempts. Just, yeah. Old mate, no mates, Deshaun Watson, obviously, because he's shit. Tom Brady, old mate, no mates. Doesn't ever really often end up here unless people are making jokes at his expense about, was it judo instructors? That was a good roast.
That was a good roast.
That was a tough start in the booth. So I watched a bunch of that game. I'm like, Tom, doing this is going to be fun. I then had to get on a plane for the second half, and I was like, I sort of missed it. But that start, there was like a couple of moments where he gave a couple of nice insights. There was the Micah Parsons breakdown. We were like, oh, bang, he called that. Tony Romo-esque.
Yep.
There was also a bunch of weird pauses where it's like, Tom, we need you to speak now. Over. And he's like, what? Who said that? What the fuck? What's going on in my ear? It was just bizarre. He got also left hanging by the, was it Mike Pereira?
Yeah.
In the booth. Going to do the fist. It's like Mike Pereira just turned away. I was like, power play.
That's not great.
Debut coaches. Old mate, no mates. They only went 3 of 5. So Mayo, McDonald, and Jim Harbaugh are the only ones that won the debut coaches.
There you go.
Bit of a tough one. And you're old mate, no mates.
Yeah, look, if you're gonna throw out Bryce, you got to throw out Danny Dimes, right? We're talking about them being replaced. I think the difference is Bryce Young. You can go, well, we've still got you on a rookie contract. Yes, we invested very, very heavily in you in terms of draft picks,
but we can't cut you at any point.
We can financially not. Danny Dimes, Jesus, and they chose not to pay Saquon, Kenny, those sort of guys. They tried to get him weapons in Waller, who's gone, nah, I'm going to retire. I'm not doing this. And they went out and got, neighbours just like, well, fuck, I'm going to get at you a weapon, and then
you're still shit.
This is what you're doing to me.
Yeah.
So, but and what they're saying, the front office is saying, well, we're not paying Danny Dimes $40 million a season to hand the ball off to a running back. This is Danny's season. Maybe, yeah.
Outback Takehouse. It's Tuesday at Outback. That means, I don't know, what do we do? I think we hit a wombat in the car this morning, chucked it in the back of the boot. Boom. Slow roasted wombat. I made a hungy out of it too. Bloody delicious. That's right, wombat hungy, only at Outback. And today's Flame Grilled take is, Gaz, if you're Green Bay, you want Tom Brady to suck in the booth for like 1 or 2 more weeks, don't you? And he just goes, all right, I'm jacking this. And then you get on the old dog and bone and go, Tom, let's go win a Super Bowl. Only at Outback. If the injury to Jordan Love had been an ACL and a season long, would you have picked up the phone and called Tom Brady?
I think they would have tried to, right? A playoff team that was on the way of last year that was on the way up, they would have kicked the tires on anyone. They could have called Flacco for all we know, right?
It'd be a better fucking option than Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Tannehill.
So we didn't touch it on what happened on that one pass that Malik Willis just had to hoik it to the end zone. Eagles rushed 4 and he still got sacked, Jim.
Do you reckon Malik Willis is like part of some sort of weird psyop where it's like he was like they've convinced everyone that he actually used to be a quarterback, but he's just like some dude. He's like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, what the fuck? Like, he was horrible in Tennessee.
Yep.
He's horrible. Anyway, there you go. Green Bay, Tom Brady, question mark. Little Aussie Butler of the week. This is a tough one. Camo Johnson, injured and done for the season, seemingly.
I mentioned that in the injuries above, but yeah.
Got Raiders to Hodge from the Falcons on his plant leg after he'd fucking punted.
Ouch.
And they got pinged for a holding call, not roughing the fucking kicker, who just had his knee fucking popped to the other side of fucking Atlanta. That sucked. So that's really shit for Cam Johnson. Legend, fellow Ginge, all-time legend. Torrey Taylor made his debut, though, as well. Finished with 6 punts, the league leading 3 inside 20s to that point. And Matty Hayball didn't have to do much for the Saints because they kicked the fuck out of the Giants. So what are you doing?
Eagles kicking around,
The other guys will keep up to date with it. Daniel Falale did not have a great game for the Ravens, I'll tell you. Anyway, Mailata, he was all right.
He was fine.
Yeah.
He was fine. It's I think it was you'll find out more about how how those sort of the lines for both the Packers and the Eagles go when they're not on skates.
Yeah. not playing on ice.
Yep.
Captain Fantasy. Panic stations for fantasy owners. CMC, out. Jamar Chase, shit. Mark Andrews, cooked. Travis Kelce, believes in a thing called love. I don't know. Drake London, shithouse. Amon Ra, shithouse. Neighbours, Harrison, etc. It was a pretty shit week for some fantasy people, Gaz. And if you were you, however, I think you were okay.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
Josh Allen.
Good.
He went pretty good. Tyreek Hill. Not too bad.
So I got my head kicked in by Josh in the NFL Straya Legends League. Josh, noted Bears fan, just absolutely smoked me. My team was shit house. So I look at this and go, right, how do I fix it? I can't. Drake London just needs a better Kirk Cousins. Mark Andrews needs to be Isaiah Likely. The biggest problem for me, Javonte Williams. I thought Denver would run the ball a bit better. McLaughlin and Williams both just a little bit of nothing. And,
nothing.
I got ran over by, I think Josh has Saquon. So he
that'll
fucking
do it.
Killed it.
Yeah.
So
I took over Brett. So I took down Brett, who's the only other Eagles fan on our thing. So it was like
you scored 139.
Yep.
That's easily the biggest score of the week too.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I made a post in our chat going, did you guys realize that it started this week? Because it was
This guy.
not great for you guys.
But yeah, I got my ass kicked, and Amon Ra, or even Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, not massive light 'em up sort of numbers as well. So if you look at sort of the top 12 picks this in week one, not great. How much do you overreact? It's 1 week. Panic if it's next week though, and they're still fucked. All right, let's do some picks for week 2. NFL Straya's picks for week 2. Gaz, you kicked the ever-loving shit out of me last week. 10-5.
Wow.
I went 5 of 16 because I fucking galaxy brained myself into a bunch of covers that did not happen. And it was bad. Real bad. So I'll just play it real safe this week and just go with all the favorites, I guess. Oh, no, wait, that's how you go.
Settle down, mate.
All right, Buffalo, Miami. Awesome Friday morning game. How good is this? Miami at home against the Bills. Miami are 1.5-point favorites at home, which I kind of like. I didn't like this Bills defense against Arizona, so I'm going to go Miami, and I think you are as well.
I'm going Miami because this is what we do, Jim. We go Miami in Miami at the beginning of the season, and then we go Buffalo in the fucking
exactly,
cold
second half.
at the end of the
Buffalo,
season.
done. Easy as you like.
Yep.
It is awesome, though, because I think you saw Miami, Jacksonville, 2 Florida teams last week, and then you had Arizona going to Buffalo. Looked beautiful up there as well, actually, in Buffalo. But Miami be a bit of a different kettle of fish. Buffalo, I just wasn't that convinced. Let's go Miami. Then we have Dallas taking on New Orleans, and I've already galaxy brained myself into taking New Orleans plus 6.5. So 6.5-point underdogs in Dallas. I don't know if I like this now that I've looked at it again. This actually has moved from 5.5 as well. So people have been more convinced on Dallas in the last 24 hours. So you've gone Dallas though, Gaz.
Yeah, look, I think as much as we don't know what we found out about New Orleans, I think they may have a bit of false sense of security about taking on a shit Carolina team and then coming to a real team this week. And I could see it easily being over a touchdown.
I'm just hoping to ride that plus 6.5 and New Orleans keep it close.
Yep.
I'm not convinced though. Not convinced at all. Why are you making that pick then, Jim? Because I don't care. Detroit host Tampa Bay at home. I'm going to go the Lions. They are 6.5-point favorites, which is a little bit rich, I thought, when I looked at it. Then I'm like, I don't know. This Tampa Bay team, like they beat them last year in the playoffs. What are we going to do? It is still 6.5. I trust this Lions front 7 just a little bit. We'll see what happens. Let's go Detroit. You're going to go Tampa Bay.
Yeah, look, I just think they can make it squirrely and keep it close.
Nice.
That's literally all I think it is. I think Detroit will still eke this out, but Tampa will just keep it under 6.5.
Yeah, I did have Tampa Bay as my initial pick. I've changed it to Detroit. So whenever I do that, I was always right first. Good job, me. Jacksonville, Cleveland. We have the Jags hosting the Browns. I'm just going to go the Jags. Like, they at least look competent. Cleveland did not. But this is the most Cleveland spot ever, right? Like their defense rolls in, kicks the fuck out of the Jags. The Jags are like, how are we 0-2?
Yeah.
It's
like 9-12.
Because you're fucking bad.
Yep.
But I'll go Jacksonville -3. You have as well.
Yeah, exactly. I just think there's a little bit more offense in Jacksonville to get it over the line.
Their defense also looked okay at times against the Dolphins. Like they kept the Dolphins to 20 points. Like, I don't know. Minnesota host San Francisco at home. Again, Galaxy branding myself. I'm going to go Minnesota +5.5 despite not really learning anything. This sucks. Did I say that? No, Minnesota kicked the fuck out of the Giants. The Saints kicked the fuck out of Carolina. I said something weird before.
Yep.
5.5 though. The Niners, short week, traveling east. Minnesota, just junk it up maybe. I don't trust Darnold versus Purdy, but I'm just going to give you apparently a 10-game head start to this season because I'm going to go Minnesota.
Yeah, mate, San Fran, Purdy looked sharp. Debo looked wily. CMC's got to come back
I don't
fresh.
like this at all.
You're saying short week, but
why am I going Minnesota?
You're saying short week, but you know, the best offensive player in the league, arguably, is coming off an entire offseason of not playing, Jim.
No. Let's say Niners win that by 3, though. I've covered and I'm happy.
Okay.
Jesus.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this next week.
Chargers, Carolina. The Panthers are only 6.5-point underdogs at home to the Chargers. We know that the Chargers tend to stink when they go east as well, but that was under Brandon Staley. Jim Harbaugh, he's not going to be like, oh yeah, let's take it easy this week.
Nah.
No chance. We've both gone Chargers -6.5.
Carolina are terrible.
They
Let's
really
just
are.
move on.
Seattle, New England. In New England, Pats are 3.5-point underdogs at home. Now, under Belichick, whenever that sort of happened, you'd be like, just take the Pats. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how shit they're playing. There'd be like a game against Buffalo and they'd fucking win it out of nowhere. Seattle, though, maybe the last time, this probably actually is right, the last time they played in Foxborough, I was actually in Boston.
Yeah.
That would have been 8 years ago. Checks out.
There you go.
Yeah. So they kicked the fuck out of them. So I'm just going to go Seattle again. Boom, done.
There you go.
Sure. That's good picking.
Yeah.
I just don't, the Pats defense is fine. The offense stinks. At home, it'll be okay. This will be a knockdown, drag out, just shit game. But I think Seattle still win it by a touchdown. So this screams again, like, was it 16-10 for the Pats this week?
Yeah.
16-10 Seattle versus New England.
Fair enough.
Checks out. You've gone Seattle as well.
Yeah, look, I just think they have more weapons.
Yep.
I think that you don't.
Yes. Raiders, Baltimore. We've both gone Baltimore because the Raiders are bad already.
8.5-point
favorites at home. The Ravens, they'll be out for blood after losing this week.
Yep.
Extended rest. They'll kill them.
Yep, I agreed.
Green Bay, Indy. We've both gone Indy -3.5 because we don't know who the fuck is going to be quarterback for Green Bay. And if it's Malik Willis, he's shit. So
He's
Indy.
terrible. Yep.
Tennessee, the Jets. I've got to go on Tennessee +4.5 at home. Tennessee aren't that shit at home. They weren't that bad last year. The Jets, they weren't that good.
No.
It was wildly unconvincing today.
Yep. It was unconvincing. However, I'd say you've got Levis against that secondary who will be a little bit pissed off about how they got carved up this week. Breece Hall had good runs and then a stinker of a fumble and all that sort of stuff. That's not him. I think he'll come back. I think the Jets, if they make it click, and this was just a knock the rust off game against a very, very high quality opposition, they can take this one out.
Nice one. Don't mind it. I'm just Tennessee. I'm going to stick with them until I've fucked it. Washington -2.5 against the Giants. We've both gone Washington because we think the Giants are shit, even though it's a division game. I think the Commanders at home, Giants just don't keep up. Go Commanders.
Yeah. Commies, look, it's hard to tell what to make of Jalen Daniels at the moment. Eckler, has he got anything left? Terry McLaurin having 4 targets or whatever it was, that doesn't stay true.
But they should still be good.
They should be. That's what I'm saying. I think they'll improve. So yeah.
Rams Cards. This is flipped pretty dramatically. The Cards were 1.5-point underdogs. They're now half-point favorites at home against the Rams. We know that these divisional games are always a bit weird and wonky. The Rams being underdogs doesn't seem right. I after the fight they put up against the Lions. But by the same token, if no Puka Nakua, it becomes a lot of Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
Arizona after that loss. I don't know. You got 2 0-1 teams, division game. This is a big one. I'm going to go. I just trust McVay a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's difficult to say. There was patches of awesome on both sides of the ball from both teams, and then also patches of stinky.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Arizona at home, covering the half point.
Nice one. Cincy at KC. We're both going KC in Arrowhead, 5.5 point favorites because Cincy looked like shit and lost to my team.
We need more from Cincy before we can turn that around.
Pittsburgh, Denver in Denver. We're both going Pittsburgh, and I hate it. This one was probably the toughest one to pick, right? Because he's like,
didn't like it.
Denver shit?
Yep.
Maybe. Pittsburgh shit? Kind of, but the defense is good. So I'm just going to lean with the defense. 2.5 point favorites on the road. This is exactly where Pittsburgh just don't score any points.
Yep.
And you're like, what the fuck just happened? But Denver are just kind of bad.
But they're going to have the ability. It's going to be battle of the defenses because that Denver defense is pretty fucking good, right? But just you could see Pittsburgh confusing the fuck out of Bo Nix and it just ending a very, very horrible day for the rookie.
Houston, Chicago, what a game this is going to be. 6.5 point favorites are the Texans at home against the Bears. That feels fair, 6.5, right? After Chicago's offense did, that's right, nothing. And Houston's electric. So we've both gone Houston at home in the Dome, feeling okay. I think we'll see a better Caleb Williams, but I still think Houston win it pretty handily. Yeah,
we haven't seen any offense from Chicago. So how do you assume that they can keep up with something like Houston?
That's right. Then finally, Philly, Atlanta, 6.5 point favorites of Philly. We're both going your Eagles.
Yeah, I think so, based on
it's a bird bowl. Fucking love a bird bowl. Let's go. I can't believe I'm going for the Eagles, but here we are. So after 1 week, you lead me 10-5. I owe you 5 beers at the moment. That's a long way back already. And how many we've actually got another 5 different heroes. You could be up 10 in 2 weeks.
There's a couple that I think are squirrely.
Fucking very pear-shaped.
I'm not happy about the Arizona Rams one.
Nice one. All right, that's it for episode 101 of NFL Straya. In the meantime, get right around us on the old socials. What is it? Facey IG, TikTok.
On the TikToks.
We've got 1 million TikToks up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we smashed it because of Social Boy Leo. He does a great job. That was amazing. Fang us a rating and this is actually important. Fang us a rating and review on your iTunes and your podcast apps and shit. But follow us on YouTube because you can see this.
Yeah, we've got a channel and stuff.
This is YouTube as well.
Just put it on the background. Just put it before you go to bed. Just put your views up.
Just chuck it on the telly. Kids will love it.
Going to sleep.
Kids fucking love NFL Straya. What are you talking about? Definitely worth chucking on. But either way, comment, like, subscribe, do the little bell thing on YouTube so it lets you know when there's a new episode. So the good shit. And a big thanks always goes to House Hats for doing the intro and outro. They rule. Get around the AFL Today show, the AFLW Today show, Cricket Today podcast, Football Today podcast, of course, NBA Straya will be back soon. And Gaz, you have gigs this week.
I'm playing 2 gigs. I'm playing this Friday night. We're playing an acoustic set. This is the Ramshackle Army. Playing at the Drunken Poet in North Melbourne, followed by a big punk festival at the Tote. Gotta love the Tote. How good's the Tote?
I still haven't got my Tote t-shirts from the Save the Tote yet.
They're still working their way through it, mate, apparently.
I'm just checking it out.
We're playing with Captives and Catholic Guilt and a whole bunch of awesome bands. So get along on Saturday, smash some beers. Jimmy will be along. He's just told me that his plans have fallen through, so he's going to be hanging out with you, mate, Gaz.
I'll be there on Friday.
There you go.
Got the Squid's birthday on Saturday, but either way.
I'm also training for a marathon, Jim.
You are. You can donate to that as well.
You can donate to. Gaz is going to do. I'm doing it for Berry Street. The kids who are less well off than us, and I've never done a full marathon before, so I'm going to try not to hurt myself and die, Jim, so that I can finish this season with you.
Bloody hell, it's going to be. How did I do this?
5 weeks to go.
Nice one. That sounds awesome. Of course, I forgot to thank them last week, but massive shouts go to our man Gerald, producer Gerald behind the camera, and Social Boy Leo. He does a great job. So
he has to. They have to hang out with us weekly.
They make us look way fucking better than we are. Like it's
true.
It's very difficult because we're idiots. All right, there you go. That'll do it. Week 1 in the bag. Can't wait for next week for NFL Straya. We'll catch you in a bit, you dickheads.
See yas.
Later, hosen.